Welcome to another real world stories session brought to you by the PowerCat team. My name is Samir, and today I'm excited to share with you the story of Eric McKinney from G&J Pepsi. Eric's been an early adopter of the platform, started in 2016, and today he'll be talking about not only the business and technology transformation, but also how the Power Platform has transformed his career. So stick around, watch his presentation and some demos.
Hello, everybody. This is Eric McKinney with G&J Pepsi, and I'm here to talk about the Power Platform through the lens of a digital technology manager. So, unlike maybe some of the other stories and demos that you've seen, we come at G&J Pepsi, we come from an extensive background within the Power Platform over the past 4 years, and we've seen the impact that it's made on a number of levels to our organization, to our folks who work in our department and outside of our department, and to us personally as well. So as we walk through this journey over the past 4 years and the different milestones that we've hit within the Power Platform and some of the exciting things that have happened, I'll also talk about those impacts that we've had, and even show some of the applications that we use as well, the applications, the automation, and the reporting that we have built for the organization. Not all, just some, but in an attempt to really show the breadth of what the platform can do, and maybe spark some ideas for your own organization. So I'm really excited that I still get to come and speak about all the exciting things that are happening. And one of the things that's interesting now is that I'm not building these applications or automation pieces as much. A lot of that work is transitioned to either my team or to my counterpart Dan's team, and I get the pleasure of showing their work as opposed to my own, which I think is really, really cool. I just happen to be the pretty face that everybody gets to see to do this. So let's on this journey. So again, who are we? We are G&J Pepsi. We are the largest family owned and operated franchise in the US. So we have a territory that kind of covers central and southern Ohio and eastern Kentucky. I am the enterprise business systems manager at G&J Pepsi, so I'm responsible for support, all of our cloud platforms, cybersecurity, and innovation. So we're a large Microsoft customer, so we are full Azure, we are full Office 365. We use EMS, so Azure AD and Intune for our identity and device management capabilities. And of course, the Power Platform. The one thing that we do not have is Dynamics plugged in there, which is probably surprising to many. But what's exciting about this journey, and we'll cover this a little bit later on, is how much the Power Platform has driven interest in CDS and into Dynamics 365. So we start back in 2016. I was not managing a team at that point. I was the cloud services manager. So it was really kind of a role that focused on system administration and cloud infrastructure at that time. And really our first entry into the Power Platform was through Power BI. So we introduced Power BI into our organization. At the same time, we were running into scenarios where we needed to deliver applications to our frontline workers. So if you see in the previous slide, we have about 1,600 employees. About 1,000 to 1,100 of those live outside of our four walls. And they need access to services and to be able to access data and deliver data back to the folks in our back office. So we didn't have any professional developers, or we don't have any professional developers on staff at that time. But we ran into this platform that allowed us to be able to build low-code, no-code applications with the skill sets that we had in-house. So just a fundamental understanding of how to structure data and an extensive knowledge with Excel formulas and using PowerPoint to build presentations. We set out with our first use case, which is a store audit app, to be able to deliver that to our frontline workers. And really what it is a provides a feedback loop from our frontline workers in the trade back to our managers. So being able to say what's out of stock, being able to do surveys to report on our inventory on display, or to be able to deliver driver notes to tell them what to deliver and when to deliver it. We didn't have that capability to do it easily or do it digitally, but Power Apps gave us that opportunity out of the gate. So we set out to build it in the fall of 2016. Estimate that we saved roughly $100,000 in development costs, just based on conversations with others that had built a similar survey tool, feedback tool, that they had paid upwards of $100,000 to develop that. So we moved from 2016 into 2017. So we had grew our solutions to over 5 in production. So we had the Store Audit app. We had built the Merchandiser app, which allowed our merchandisers to do similar functionality, but it was really more of a task list. And we measure things like adoption. We measure obviously out of stocks, how much time they're spending at the shelves and at the coolers. We had built another application called Data Snap, where we were working with external customers and partnering with them to deliver the same to similar solutions. We developed the My WorkPal app, which allowed us to track our time internally, what time we were spending against certain projects, and then our Telcel application, which allowed our CSRs to do same to similar functionality that Store Audit had while leaving driver notes, but for a different subset of customers. Really, I attribute a lot of what transpires after this point in terms of all the customer success stories to a visit that I paid in 2017. There was a Data Insights Summit in Seattle. At that time, it was the precursor to BizApps, so we called it Data Insights. And I happened to just go there. I was on a family trip, but I was in the area, and I said, I'm going to go to this conference, and I bumped into a gentleman by the name of Samir Bangar, and known as Sammy, and I bumped into him. He was doing some feedback sessions that they were doing at the time around the product, and I showed him what we had built with the Store Audit app, and within, I showed the app and I showed the reporting, and within 10, 15 minutes, I have 5, 6, 7 people surrounding me, asking me all kinds of questions about building it, and the automation pieces in Flow, and building Power Apps, and how did you do it, and what were your techniques and methodologies, and how did you build the reporting, and really things just took off from there as kind of one of the first real use cases of a self built app from somebody that doesn't have development experience, pro dev experience. But to be transparent, obviously I have a technical background, but I'm not what you would consider a developer in the traditional sense.
All right, so let's go into a couple of the applications. In particular, let's go to the Store Audit, which was what we had started with, and one that really kind of kicked off all this activity around a customer success story. And it's gotten received a facelift since we've since probably the last time it's been seen. But as you can see, it's got all the same core functionality: our surveys, our retail, and these are dynamic surveys, our retail audit capabilities where we're entering pricing. We've got planograms that are coming soon. We've got our sales operations where we're able to leave driver notes or routing instructions. And then what was our core original functionality, which was to do follow-ups and to do IOD audits. So I'll go back in there. Sorry, I got out. Then, you can do inter-display audits, and you can do it by company, so we can track what the competitor is doing, and enter audit comments. And, it's a lot of our same core functionality exists. We've just expanded on that, and we've added all kinds of new menus, and Dan and his team have done a really nice job of enhancing the look and feel of this application. Now I'm running it from a browser, of course, but on our mobile app, it looks really, really good. So then we go into, and again, I want to show the breadth of the capabilities that we have. And this is an application that was built by Nathan Foster to be able to make phone calls. And this was used really heavily during kind of the COVID outbreak, when we needed to communicate with our employees and make sure they were clear on instructions. But we leverage a service called InfoBip that brokers the phone calling, but Nate built a really nice interface inside this app to call by scenarios. So you can do a call by location where you create a scenario, you put your message in, you can test call, and then you basically create that call, then you choose your location. Now I'm not going to do it because I don't want to accidentally call that location, but you can do all these common scenarios by location, by manager, all hourly by location, or a union location, or just if you want to call all employees, you can do such. So again, using the Power Platform or Power Apps in this case, but the Power Platform to broker and leverage that in a time of emergency or a time of crisis. And we've done it for about 1/15 of the cost of our previous solution that we were using to do those phone calls. And in addition, we've automated all of the numbers being imported from our human capital management system, our HCM system. Another really interesting one, and this is a newer one we're working on, Leslie Fox, who's on my team, is working on this, is leveraging Forms Pro and wrapped inside of a Power App. And we're using that because we need to pass certain parameters or variables into Forms Pro, or in this case, the underlying CDS, that allows us to do some dynamic capabilities that are inside that don't exist inside of Forms Pro, but we can leverage the variables that exist inside of Forms Pro. So we can do multiple surveys inside of Forms Pro, and then depending on the form that you built in Forms Pro that we're going to surface here inside of Power Apps, you can choose the employee that's meant to do this survey for us. So once we choose our form, and then it's going to load Forms Pro, and then we're going to be able to go in and fill out this survey. And then when we submit it, it passes that information about that employee into the underlying entity in CDS, and then allows us to report on. So it's a really creative way for us to partner with individuals in HR who built this survey but needed some particular information inside of that. So really a really unique way of leveraging Forms Pro and Power Apps. And we'll look at the data that produces. I'm going to show a couple Power BI reports as well. And then another one that's built by Christian Kessler and Trevor Miller on our teams. Dan and I's team collaborated together to build out an event ticket request. So part of our organization, Pepsi, we're very visible within the community, within sporting events, and things like the zoo and water parks and science areas. So we have all these tickets that are available, the Columbus Crew, but how do we streamline the request process so that it gets to the right people and we find the right request so they can do it? So really an incredible interface that allows you to find your event, the different types of requests, like what is this for? Is this for a customer? Is it for personal? Is it an owner? Employee appreciation? There's all these different reasons. And then you can choose that customer of who is going, and then enter the attendees, and then how many tickets are you requesting, and then submit that request. You can also view your requests in the menu options. So I don't have any, I'm under my development account, but just really an incredible way of leveraging Power Apps in order to do this. And these are just a handful of all of the applications, and even this isn't the number of apps, all the numbers of apps that we have available to us. Let's talk about flow for a little bit, and some of my favorite flows in here. So we have, this one is really dynamic. So our end of month or beginning of month, or I'm sorry, our employee-owned mobile Wi-Fi password change, where we leverage the API within let's go ahead and look at this. Leverage the API for Meraki, and then we write the password. So we have a SQL table that has all of our wireless passwords for our employee-owned mobile. We leverage the Meraki API, and then we are able to parse the JSON, and we're able to send an email and write the password in here. So really cool way of leveraging all of this, a task that had multiple steps, to send an email, to post a message to Teams, and then to post a message out to Yammer of what that password is to our folks out on our shop floor. So one of my favorite ones that we've done that shows kind of the power of the Power Platform, and that's just a completely manual process that we used to have to do, our HR folks used to have to do. Another one is we can generate support tickets through email, and our support systems is built off of a simple SharePoint list. And when a ticket arrives, we've got some variables. Does it contain a voicemail or not? If yes, we create the item. If no, then we continue on to look at certain roles. If they don't equal those roles, then we create that ticket via the SharePoint list, and we get emailed and notified of that. And it's just a bunch of dynamic capabilities and conditions that allow us to build a ticketing system that automatically creates a ticket based off of an email. And you think, well, that exists out of box for things, other systems that exist that you purchase, but we have built that internally for ourselves. This one is another favorite. So this is what brokers all of our new users to be created inside of, or as they come out of Oracle's HCM. So we dump them out of Oracle's HCM, dump them into SQL, and we have some flags that tell us that we need to pick the new hires up. And then basically this allows us to do all kinds of different capabilities, whether this is an internal hire, yes or no. Then we send approvals. Once it's improved, then you see this thing really just balloon out. But what you see is we're sending a branch of this to accounting, to logistics, to HR, to create the user in our change form that we need, and now a notification of credit cards for vehicles as well. So we have WEX cards as well. So we've just incorporated this piece. So you imagine this used to be what HR had to do, or the talent acquisition team, is when somebody started, we'd have to go find out what role they are and then email certain people based off of this role. We have a role listing that allows us to broker that. So we do a lookup inside of here, and then it allows us to look at the job code and match it up to that. And then we just have levers and switches, I call them, inside of the SharePoint list that says, yes, this person gets a WEX notification, let's send it to them. Or yes, this person we need to notify logistics to set up their account. So this has been a tremendous win for us and for our talent teams and for the organization, as it helps us broker and set up the user account, not only user accounts, but also all the material they need to start at G&J Pepsi and to be successful, right? Which is incredible, and we have a number of those as well. That's just a couple of the I think, incredible ways that we're leveraging Power Automate to help our business. And I think it's just a really great tool. It's probably my favorite tool is Power Automate. Just no disrespect to the Power Apps team, but I love Power Automate and the things that we're able to do. So just a couple reports that we have that are built from some of the applications. And I can't show, obviously our sales reports that we use across the board, but what Leslie has built with the coaching form, the team coaching forms, and all the data that this produces coming from Forms Pro. So all of the opportunities that exist in here, and again, this is test data. This is about to go live, but you can see how we're leveraging what has been submitted into Forms Pro, which is really CDS, and then surfacing that data in our Power BI reports. So I'm really excited about the capabilities that's going to bring. And then another application that I didn't show that we leverage is an application Nate built called Wiki WorkPal, and it allows us to track our time and see where we spend time. So I set my focus to 2018 to 2019, and I can see the average hours that I worked. Had some big weeks in here, kind of a really busy summer. Where I'm spending my time is in travel, administration. I have a lot of meetings, a lot of research, a lot of training. Took some time off in here, but my busiest days. So just some really incredible data that comes out of this, this application that we use, and how just we're using Power BI. And this is just even the smallest sampling of how we're using Power BI to gain insights into, coaching and how we work, sales data, financial data, budgets. There's a report that was built from our HR and talent team that shows our learning trends with our learning management system. So we're using the Power Platform, as you can see, across the board in incredible ways to gain insights, to produce action, to automate that action, and allow us to drive our business.
So, as you can tell, some of those applications have been built since 2017, 2018. Some of them have been more recently, but I want to take time out to show and demo those applications so you get a feel, really you get a feel for the breadth of the Power Platform and what you can do, right? From being able to build an application that just calls somebody and being able to save, $15,000 and the automation that we've built behind that to ingest the numbers, to integrating Forms Pro into this. So being able to build a form or have somebody in a completely separate department build a form, but then us wrapping Power Apps around it to take advantage of some of the capabilities to pass dynamic variables and dynamic data, to now the modern interface of Store Audit, but it still has all of the same characteristics and processes that were built, even 4 years ago, but just has received a facelift, and how professional you can make these apps look. Let's keep moving on this journey. Again, I want to dive into that and just take a little break, but let's keep moving on in this journey. So 2018, so after we have 2017, we present and we're furthering our relationship. So my good friend Satya, unbeknownst to us, demos what G&J had done with Power Apps in like a little kind of blog series that showed up on LinkedIn, and the thing just went viral. There was like 1.2 million views. It was just a little 3-minute video that he does, and it's one of the first, I guess, recognitions of Power Apps from Satya and what his interest is in that platform, and really exciting to get that type of attention at that level, not only for ourselves but also obviously for the Power Platform as well. Time we actually had a new VP of IT join, and we doubled our team size. So we went from a team, remember, no professional developers, none of this experience, a team of about 6-7 individuals, to now a team that today stands at roughly 14 to 15. So we're not like giant Pepsi, like big parent Pepsi. We're a small franchise bottler, but our team had doubled. And I think a lot of that was driven from what we were able to deliver in terms of value to the organization. New VP Brian Balzer starts with our organization, and he brings in a business transformation team, a product team, and then we stood up a development team that's headed by Dan Foster, that's all around the Power Platform. So they're professional developers, but they develop all around the Power Platform. So around apps, automation flows, data, and Dan heads that team up. So now we went from just one team focused on everything to now a separate channels focused on in unique areas. So by 2018, you had seen we have 20 plus large scale applications in production, over 100 business critical workflows, 100% of our organization is using Power BI as its preferred reporting engine. Continues on. So in 2019, we collaborated with Microsoft on AI Builder. So it was a partnership that we had started on some use cases to be able to detect and count products on shelves, and we were highlighted at the BizApps Summit keynote in Atlanta because of this work with AI Builder, where Brian Balzer was on stage and was able to talk about the digital transformation that's taking place at G&J Pepsi and continues to take place in that forum, and not just around AI Builder, but just around all the capabilities. And Wim did an incredible job of demoing that on stage. And then that led to being able to present, myself and Ryan being able to present with Satya at Inspire in Las Vegas over the summer. And just really, again, just continuing this partnership and the opportunities that I've had personally in our department in G&J Pepsi to highlight a lot of this work that we have done. And hopefully it inspires others to take a look at the Power Platform and show what it can do for their business. Again, this relationship that we have with Microsoft isn't so much just one way where we're benefiting. It's a two-way relationship that benefits both of us. And I think what's interesting to take back as a digital, and again, this is from my lens, right? What's in it for us is that Microsoft really listens to your feedback. If you're willing to participate in those sessions and you're willing to offer that in a constructive way, if there's something that I want to get across to, somebody who's watching this and maybe is a digital technology manager, or I guess anybody really, a developer, is that you can partner with Microsoft. It's not the same Microsoft that we've maybe known in the past. A lot of what you're seeing that's being built into that product is given as feedback back to the product teams and back to the customer success teams. And they're really listening to their customers. This, from a business standpoint, so we've talked about personally in department in 2019, how this has impacted us. We had focused on working on Dynamics. So a lot of the Power Platform has just driven interest in the Dynamics 365 platform and CDS. So a lot of the applications that we built don't really are components of the customer engagement module within Dynamics or CRM module. And we realized that we need to bring that data in and centralize it and use it as a platform that we can extend out, because some of this capability exists out of box. So in 2019, we spent a lot of time going through business value assessments, working with partners, trying to find a partner, going through demos, and really what I would say is selling this to the organization that we need to move in the direction of CDS, and in particular Dynamics 365 for sales and field service, to really help drive our business even further ahead. And then, so what have we done in 2020? High-level process mappings and prep for Dynamics 365 CE. We are in the process of hiring a Dynamics engineer / architect role. If there's anybody watching this that's interested, please feel free to reach out. We have filled an additional software engineer role. So both of Dan's developers one has come from my team, which he started out as a support individual or a support administrator, is now a Power Platform software developer. And then the other came from logistics and was a logistics analyst before joining Dan's team. So there's new opportunities being created through the Power Platform that when we got into it 4 years ago, there's no way we saw this happening. There's no way we saw a whole department being spun up, and nor did we get into it in order to make that happen, but it's just naturally progressed. And then of course we're always working on new technologies and furthering our relationship with Microsoft, and there's some exciting things that we have been a part of that Microsoft has unveiled. Again, I want to recap kind of what I've talked about in terms of our business, our people, and what that's done. So my career has evolved from really just a cloud platform manager, administrator, to now managing a whole channel and in charge of support, security, and cloud platforms. So since we started, since 2016 going all the way to 2020, these are all the things that have happened. Dan Foster now leads a development and data team that's all around the Power Platform. Nathan Foster who is on my team, is going to be heavily involved in Dynamics rollout and success, and I look forward to the things that he is going to be able to do to wrap in some of these disparate systems and collapse them into Dynamics. Matt Ralston and Christian Kessler are now software developers within the Power Platform. And again, I briefly told their stories, but they don't come from pro dev backgrounds. And now they're working with AI, mixed reality, building applications, some of which you saw that impact our organization. And I don't think that they saw that, 4 years ago, that this is where their career was going to be headed. And it's exciting to see the impacts that this has had. So G&J Pepsi runs a lot of its business on the Power Platform. So from the store audit to news alerts to an application that we use to track mileage for our trucks to the warehouse, Power Platform success is leading to heavy interest and heavy work towards rolling out Dynamics 365, in particular CE. And to date, we estimate we've saved over $1.5 million, and that grows annually from all of these applications and the amount of work that we've saved. And that number is probably even changed since this presentation was built. And then from an innovation side, which is part of my channel, we were early adopters of AI Builder and mixed reality at work. And that's really just helped us lead to a strong partnership with the CAT team, the customer success team, and product groups at Microsoft. That allows us to get our feedback to be heard, which we can then in turn bring into our organization. So after seeing all of this and hearing me talk about all of these, the things that I want to, anybody that's walking through this or listening to this, the takeaway is to embrace the Power Platform. And don't mean to be a pun. It's powerful. I know it's Power Platform and it says it's powerful. That wasn't intentional, but it really is. And I don't think of it as just a toy, and nobody at G&J Pepsi thinks of this as just a toy now. There are a number of things that we are doing that our business counts on, that it runs on the Power Platform, as I've said, and as you have seen. And by 2023, I saw a study that says 65% of development will be done via low-code, no-code platforms out there. So if you're not on board, you're going to be behind the game if you don't get on board soon. And then, as you can see, there's a variety of solutions that can be made within the Power Platform. So I think it's important that you don't have to pick just one use case or fit it in the box of what everybody else is doing or what you've seen. There are a number of solutions that aren't even related to us that are out there that are available for you to build. It's your use cases, it's your scenarios that you can go out and build, and to start small and to take a process like we did, like store audit, and it could be even smaller, and just try and just get in and learn and develop and get feedback. But make no mistake, you got to understand the impact that this is going to make. Be prepared for governance. If this is speaking to somebody that's not in IT, if you're just an individual that's interested in making a difference and you're not in IT or you're not a developer, be prepared to answer questions from that group about how you're going to structure the data, how you're going to secure the data, how do we make sure people aren't running amok with applications. If they are in IT, have that plan as well. And then if you're building applications and or support, or not support, but if you're building applications or automation, think about the impact that that's going to have on what you do. It's one thing to just build an application, but you also have to support it. What if it breaks? What if there's something wrong with it, right? Are you structured to be able to support your applications? And this speaks to digital technology folks or folks that are, like I said, just interested in changing their business. One of the things that we are learning now that we are professional software developers is the software development lifecycle and how we how do we work with our product teams to build out the right capabilities and sunset capabilities that are no longer needed. How do we perform updates? How do we manage the expectations with our users? But make no mistake, I think that the traditional software development lifecycle is disrupted a bit because you can make changes so rapidly. What we've learned is, and what we learned early on about Power Apps is you can make changes quickly. You can fix things quickly. You can update things quickly and develop those and push those to your users in a rapid manner. So, how do you bridge the gap between traditional software development, or what they would consider pro software development, with this new world of developing and delivering applications? And that's one of our biggest challenges we face right now, is how to grow up and be a professional software development organization for our folks and build out those capabilities. So, if you're just getting into it, I wouldn't probably worry about those, but keep those at the top of mind, that you will have to at some point face those challenges that I mentioned. But make no mistake, you shouldn't hold back for fear of those. You can see the impacts in what we just presented to an organization, and all we did was we just started and just got in and tried. So thank you. Thank you for listening to our story, seeing our applications, and continuing to be interested in our story. And I appreciate it, and happy building, and best of luck.
Well, thanks for that, Eric. We're looking forward to seeing what you do next with the platform, and hope to see all of you at another Real World Stories session. Thanks and goodbye.